Okay, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel, Robert's Video Machine. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up as well. I really appreciate it on the videos. So in this video, we're going to be changing out the thermostat housing. And this is on a 2003 Mercury Mountaineer. You can see the new housing there. And it's located basically right up on top. You can see the engine here. It's right up on the top, right there. And the reason I'm replacing this is I got a P0128 code. It's basically the coolant thermostat. And it's saying that the coolant temperature is below the thermostat regulating temperature. Now the number one fix is to replace the thermostat. And as you can see here, this is the new one. You can see the thermostat inside of there, inside of the housing. A second fix, like the second top fix, is to flush out the coolant and the radiator and everything. And the third fix is to replace the housing, which contains the thermostat. So I'm just going to replace the thermostat because it does come with the sensor. I got this on AutoZone, and I'll show the part number. You can see the sensor there on the top, and it has the thermostat in there. The number one fix is to replace the thermostat if you just wanted to do that. But I figured I might as well just do the whole thing since I'm going to flush out the system. So let's start off by disconnecting the battery, because I am taking off the switch. And every time I always mess around with electrical switches, I always like turning off disconnecting the battery to not have any issues. And if you could see here, those 3 bolts, it's an 8mm, 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3, to take out the housing. But first you got to drain out the coolant, and I already had this car out here cooling off for 5 hours, so should be okay. But step 1 is basically on the bottom. Okay, so you can see I'm at the bottom of the car, and you see here, this is the bottom of the radiator, and this is a 19mm to loosen it up, and this is where the coolant would basically drain out. And then I have a bucket here just to catch it. Let me show you on the top real quick. And then, because this doesn't have basically the radiator cap or anything, it's kind of sealed. It has this thing here, the reservoir, which kind of serves as a cap. You'd open this up. Well, it's a little tiny bit warm, but should be okay. It's been here for 5 hours. You're gonna pop this open and basically just flush out the whole system after you drain everything out. And then you would release the upper hose here that leads into the radiator on the top. And then there's a hose here as well. Of course, you disconnect that switch or sensor. You remove the 3 bolts, and this should come off. Let me see. Okay, now it looks like there's another hose on the bottom. Let me get around it. You can see it there. That would get released as well. And you can compare it with the new one. Kind of see how it is. Here, there's the top hose there, the hose there, the sensor, and then on the bottom you can see it has this here, the hose. And it looks like it sits on something else on the bottom, so it looks like it snaps on or something, but you'll be able to see after we get it off. So let's go ahead and do that. But first I'm going to drain out the radiator and flush out the system. So I'll create a separate video, for the way I flush out the stuff. I know some people say it's not the right way, but I always do it this way, just with straight out water hose. And just so you can have an idea, you can see there, I loosened it up already. And everything starts draining out from that spot there, right underneath the plastic bolt or nut or whatever. So you just basically wait for everything to clear out, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, now that the coolant is all drained out from the radiator, should be all gone, we're gonna move on to the top and remove the hose here from the thermostat housing. And you just need some pliers to basically put these together, move it off to the side, and then take it out. Now be aware that there may be a lot of coolant in there still from the engine side and everything. So just be prepared that you may get dirty or whatever. But let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and now as you can see, I have the old thermostat housing out. That's where it used to go. I cleaned it up a little bit where it meets there, the 3 bolts. And this cable here may be a problem. I had to wiggle it kind of out of the way. You can, I guess, technically get it off of here on the distributor cap to move it out of the way, kind of, but it is going to be in your way and you have to kind of like wiggle it out or maneuver it in place. So that was the last cable that was attached to it on the bottom. So let me see how I'm gonna flush out the system. I'll show you right now, or just check out the other video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna combine the two or just separate them. And then after the whole system gets flushed out, then you basically just replace the thermostat housing and then put everything back in place. And I did remove this hose here. This is from the reservoir on the top. And then I also removed this hose here. And that goes from the radiator right here up to the thermostat housing. So it was basically kind of like that. So let me go ahead and flush out the system and then get on with it. Okay, and here's everything put back together. I made sure all the hoses were connected back, and there's the new housing, the thermostat housing. Make sure you put everything back, can do all the connections, sitting flush on the bottom. I don't know if you can see there. Let me try to zoom in, because it does have like that seat or whatever. Make sure it's flat there. And then the last thing that you need to do is just fill it up with the antifreeze. And then of course, you know, keep an eye on it when you turn it on. Make sure it's always on the level. You can see there where it says, what does it say anyways? I can't even tell. Cold full. And it should be somewhere around there. Yeah. Make sure it's on the level. So I'm just gonna fill it up above, just a little bit above that, just to keep it, and then keep an eye on it. So let me know what you think about the video. You know, give me a thumbs up, like I said, subscribe, like the video, and then if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Thank you very much.